Hi everyone, it's Dragana at Saacibo. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Finally, long-awaited marbling paper tutorial. I'm so glad I'm finally doing it, and this is a traditional technique that's been around for a long time, starting from Japan and China down to Iran, Turkey and finally Europe. And there are many different ways you can marble paper. You can use different techniques, different type of paints. So I've decided I'm going to share with you the way I've been making marble papers, simply because this is a way I've been doing it for a few years now and it worked for me, so hopefully it will work for you. So in the first part of the video we're going to learn how to make thickened water, which is going to be our medium on which we will float the paints. Then we're going to prepare and mix the paint, and we'll talk briefly about the papers we're going to use. We will make several prints together, and at the end I will share with you the results, and also I will show you two of my new digital kits called Marble Papers Volume 1 and Volume 2. Okay, let's start by preparing the water. Marbling paper is a technique in which the paint floats on water, but for that to work we have to make the water a little bit thicker, and there are different products out there that do this. The most common is carrageenan, and I've seen people use liquid laundry starch as well. I haven't tried those two. I have been using this one. It's called Gelasco. This is a German brand. It came in a paper marbling kit that I was given for my birthday from my brother actually. Most of these products will have instructions on how much water and how much of the product you need to put. So I suggest whichever one you buy, just follow the instructions. And with mine it says pour 5 liters of warm water into a flat tray and add 3 tablespoons of Gelasco. Stir quickly with a beater. Within 12 hours all lumps will have dissolved. This is a basic recipe. Gelasco may also be thickened or thinned with water. And I worked out that I need 1 heaped tablespoon of this product in 1 to 1.5 liters of warm water. I don't actually mix it here because it splashes everywhere, so I'm going to use this container. So I said 1 heaped tablespoon. Okay, the water here is warm. It's warm to the touch. It's not boiling, it's not cold or lukewarm, it's just warm. I would say the way I prefer my showers to be. I start by mixing like this. Okay. I'll just whisk it a little bit. And add more water. Alright, so here I had 1.4 liters. So a little bit less than 1.5. Later on, if I see that this is too thick, I can always add more water. You can also use handheld blender if you wanted to. Okay. Now I have to leave it for 12 hours. That's what the instruction says. If you are using a different product, you might not have to wait, or you might have to wait shorter period or maybe even longer period. Obviously we're not going to wait 12 hours because I have prepared enough for today's session. Here's some of that that's already been mixed, and I'm going to show you what it's like. It's quite thick. Okay, I'm trying to think about what sort of consistency this is. It's like a really thick syrup, maybe like thick cream or something like that. Anyway, I know I can fit more than 1 liter in this tray, and I think that would be enough. I don't want to put too much. I will put some into this container because when we start mixing paints, I want to show you how to do that correctly, and we're going to test it in this small container. All right, and maybe I'll pour the rest here. I'm going to show you now how to prepare paints. I'm going to move this aside a little bit. Today we're going to do marbling paper with acrylic paints. When I first started experimenting with marbling paper, I used paints that came in the paper marbling kit. And that worked fine. I could concentrate on the technique. I didn't have to worry about this. But it also comes with some restrictions. When you mix the paints yourself, you have a degree of freedom to create the paint that will suit your project. You can adjust the thickness of the paint or how quickly the paint will spread on the surface. So today I'm going to do that. I'm not going to be using these. I believe that most of you will already have some sort of acrylic paint that you can try this on. So this is how I've been doing it. Just add acrylic paint like so. You don't need a lot. I need some water. Okay. Just add a little bit more. And then I'm going to mix. I'm just going to use this brush. You have to mix the paint really well. I will show you with this one, and then I will go through different types of acrylic paints, because I had 3 or 4 different brands and not every brand worked the same. So this is something of a wild factor for me. I can't really explain why, but we'll talk about it. We'll just try with this one first. This is not the cheapest, but it's not the expensive paint that I got. It's mid-range or even below mid-range. Okay, so you need to mix the paint really well. I'm going to add a bit more water because this is thick, and the best way to know if it's watered down enough is to try this. If it's dripping, it is all right, but as you can see, it's not dripping fast enough. Look. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more. You don't want any lumps. Okay. Now I'm going to add some of this. This is ox gall. That is also ox gall. And they're 2 different brands. By the look of it, I think this is a synthetic one. And this one seems to be the real thing. Okay, I got this one in a craft shop here that specializes in Ebru technique, which is a Turkish technique of marbling paper. So I've been using this one and I'm quite happy with it. Okay, I haven't tried this one yet. I will try it eventually, but I'm going to work with this one today. You need to add a little bit of this to your paints. It will help them spread on the surface, and it will also help them stay separated, so there will be no mixing of the paints between themselves, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to use this plastic thing. I'm just going to add 1 or 2 drops. You don't need a lot of this. And I'm going to mix it now. Let's see what will happen when I drop. You see how it spreads? Okay. It keeps spreading. And when I said you have the ability to adjust, this is precisely what I mean. If you put too much ox gall, this process will happen quicker. If you don't put enough, the paint will drop to the bottom of the container. But I think this one spreads out just right. Okay, so I think my paint is all right. If later on I find that it's not spreading quick enough, I can always add either more water or more of that ox gall. And as you can see, here I have prepared all the colors that I had from the same brand of acrylic paint, and I've done this 2 days ago, so I will probably need to mix them up a little bit because the pigment tends to settle at the bottom. You can use any sort of containers that you have. I love using these ones. It's really practical. And if you happen to have some of these small bottles like these ones, you can mix the paint and then put inside, and it's actually a really fun way of doing this. Let's try here. You see how easy it is to add? Love that. And I also found in that same shop where I bought these, they have these things. I think that's also meant for paper marbling, and they have really tiny opening here. So let's see how that works. Really good. See, this paint is spreading slower. I guess I didn't put that much of ox gall in it. And that one spreads really fast. So yeah, you can play with this. You can make them spread faster or slower. And you adjust, you work with what you've got, and then you keep adjusting. I want to show you something else. Over here, I have used this type of acrylic paint, which is heavy body acrylic paint. And with that one, I really struggled making it correct because it is a heavy body acrylic paint, and it was really hard to make it the right consistency. Like here, if I put it, it just doesn't want to move, and it only worked if I had clean surface. See, now it spreads completely and it disappears. So I had a lot of issues with that one. I guess that's a little bit better. So not every acrylic paint will behave the same. Just be aware of it and don't despair if you mix the paints and it just doesn't work. You just have to find that right balance for whatever paint you've got. Okay, let's see this one. This is a metallic one. That one spreads way too fast. And this is supposed to be the pearl. Metallic white. I just have to mix it. Because the pigment in these is a bit heavier, it sinks to the bottom, and if you don't mix it properly before you use it, you're gonna have problems. Okay, the surface here is a bit more saturated, so it doesn't really move. I find this technique of chaos. When you think about it, you do everything right, and then sometimes it just has a mind of its own. You control it to a certain degree, but you never know what's going to happen, and that's why I love it so much. So I've shown you with the mid-range acrylics. These are the more expensive acrylic paints, and here I have the cheapest of the cheap. Let's see. They still work. There is a little bit of sinking. I don't know if you can see. It works, but there's a lot of paint that's gonna drip to the bottom, and you don't want that. Perhaps these paints are a little bit old. They started curdling like milk. Perhaps that's why I had trouble making it work with them. I think because of that, they are not really good for me to use because they don't work consistently. Some paints work and some don't. So I've decided I'm not going to use them today. And then here I've used some of these Marabou. That's a good brand as well. And I have all the metallic ones like silver and bronze and gold. And I'm very happy with how these worked when I tried them the other day, but hopefully they will work today again as well. Let's see. Now this is really saturated. Okay, and the blue one here is this brand. I only have this color of this brand. It says professional top quality acrylic paint, and it worked well with that one. It doesn't say that it's heavy body paint, but look, it spreads really well. Okay, so that brand worked as well. So whatever paint you've got, doesn't have to be any specific brand, just whatever you've got. Work with what you've got. Now let's talk about the papers. I've received these papers in the paper marbling kit. They seem to be papers designed for this type of printing, and they worked fine. But I also tried printing with just regular copy paper, and that worked well. Although the paper gets a little bit wrinkled as you work with it because of all the moisture. Cardstock that's meant for printing on your inkjets and laser jets also work well in different thicknesses. You can use paper in different colors, like colored cardstock and so on. I've tried all of these, and also some watercolors, cheap watercolors, expensive watercolors, and I've tried some of these. These papers also worked all right. The best results I had with this drawing sketch pad, 135 GSM paper. These were quite large, so I had to cut them in half, and I have some here. And this paper behaved so well with this technique. There was almost no wrinkling when I took them out and leave them flat to dry. They stayed really flat. I will show you some examples. Here's one. It stayed completely flat. This is the one with the paper that came in a kit. Also very nice surface, but it did get a few wrinkles here and there, which I don't mind. It's totally up to you. You can use thinner papers as well, but please pay attention to this. You know me, I like to experiment with all different papers just to see what will happen. So I tried with rice paper, and that was total disaster. The whole paper just completely dissolved, and I had to scoop it out from the size. So rice paper or handmade paper, I don't think it's really going to work because that thick water is actually really heavy. So the paper has to be tough. This example here is just a cheap watercolor paper. I love it because it has texture. So experiment with what you've got, and please don't think that only certain type of paper or certain type of paint will work. Today I'm going to be using this one because I really like how it works. Okay, and I also have some regular printer paper, copy paper. I use that paper to clean up the surface. You will see as we work, once you pull the print out, you will have some leftovers on the side. You need to clean that up. You can use scraps of paper to clean up, but I like to use the full page, and I end up using these cleanup papers in my projects too. I just stamp or work more on top of them. I really like them. I'll show you some. I still like them. They can be interesting sometimes. Okay, let's make a few prints. Before I start adding paint to this, I just want to show you my collection of tools. Made these by myself with toothpicks and 2 layers of chipboard. You can also make these with nails, or you can buy them. I've done another one. Look at this. It's one of those things for hair. Okay, I flattened it, and I love using it for this. It gives me really nice result. I got these also, like to use them. Various brushes to do the splatter, and even that one works well. That too, look at that. I just like to experiment, but if nothing else, just get something pointy that you can push paint around. Let's just start by adding some blue. I hope you can see it just spread everywhere. I've only got one of these brushes, so I'm going to clean it. Now let's add a different paint. Let's add some of the metallic ones. Maybe this bronze, just to mix it. And you'll probably know when you've added enough paint. At some stage, when you keep adding paint, it just stops expanding. That means the surface is really completely saturated or covered and it can't fit anymore. Oops, that was a big drop. This is just so much fun, really. Okay. Don't be afraid to experiment with different colors. You can use them in like similar values, or you can go with really contrasting colors. For this first example, we're not going to manipulate anything. We'll just add drops. Black to make it more dramatic. I like it already. And I think I'm gonna go with more of the blue. And now I'm not gonna use brush, I'm just gonna go like so. Just drop. So it pushes away the black. See how it becomes darker then as it expands. I think this is just so mesmerizing. Love it. It is quite messy, if you ask me. You will get mess everywhere. And yeah, by the way, you need to prepare the area where you're going to dry your papers. Okay. And I forgot to mention when I talked about the papers, another thing that is really optional is to treat your papers with alum. And some of the tutorials out there really call for that, but I have to say that I've never done it with alum. I've always used paper as it is, and it worked fine in combination with acrylic paints. Perhaps if you use watercolors or tempera or gouache, you might have to add alum. I don't know, because I haven't tried, so I can't tell you for sure. But I've always been using papers just as they are without adding or treating them with alum. And I had no problem. The paints would always stay. Okay. Now I've been adding a lot more. All right. Adding more blue. And you can keep doing this until you're happy with the design. I'm going to add a bit more of the bronze. I really love how the metallic paints bring a certain excitement to these papers. Okay, I think that's enough. I'm not going to do anything else. So now the fun part. Here we go. So I do it like this. Okay, make sure that there's no air bubbles. Sometimes it will happen, and unfortunately you can't really control every aspect, but that's all right. I always end up using all of these papers, so I just push it here like so that I can lift it, and then I just slide it over. And there it is. Love it. I don't rinse the papers. I leave them to dry flat like this. I have a big stretched canvas that I place all my dyed papers, including these ones, on top, and I lay them flat and let them dry. So if you wanted to, you can rinse your papers, your printed papers, in a separate tray with clean water. That's totally optional. I normally don't do that, but you can if you feel like your papers are getting really gooey. Now look at this. I have to clean this now, and I'm just going to use plain printer copy paper to collect all of this excess. Just gonna go like this. And there it is. I honestly like these cleanup papers. What color should we start off with? Okay, let's start off with this green. There's a little bit of residue from the previous attempt, but that's all right. See, this paint is quite watered down. It's barely visible here. Look how here it started dropping to the bottom and then it lifted up. All right. Now let's add some brown. I'm just gonna go like this. It's easier than the brush. Okay. I'm gonna add more green. That same green. Maybe even some of this green. Just for the interest. I think the main thing with this technique is to keep trying and don't be afraid of making mistakes. You'll end up sometimes with prints that are not so exciting, or you might not like them, but I don't think being too cautious is the way to go here. Maybe this brown. Thread just a little bit. I'm gonna add some black. My paints are quite thinned down. They're not that thick. I like them like so. And I'm gonna add some of this green. I love how they keep moving. They're pushing out really a lot now, but that's all right. I'm just gonna grab this. Okay, And I'm just gonna go and have fun. I'm gonna swirl. Just move them around. One thing you have to, I guess, develop is know when to stop. Sometimes you get it to a certain stage and you think, oh, if I add just a little bit of this color, and then everything moves how you don't want it, so you can't really plan much. Okay, I think I've done enough. Place the paper down. Right. And this time I'm not gonna take it out or wipe it. You don't have to, you can, but I find that sometimes it leaves streaks. I'm just going to lift it. I'm seeing it and I'm so excited. It actually turned out really good. Lots of contrast here, greens and browns. Love it. Okay, I'm gonna let it dry. Now what you can do here, instead of getting a clean paper every time to clean off the residue, you can collect the paint with the paper that you previously used as a cleanup paper. For example, this one. And then eventually the design will build up and you might end up with a really interesting paper. So I'm going to do that. This one I've used as a cleanup paper and then it dried. And now I'm using it again. So just go like this over the surface to collect as much as I can. Oops. You see, when you use thinner paper, it's a bit harder to manage, but I'm loving it now. I'm gonna go with this blue, turquoise blue. I really love it. And now I'm going to do it slightly different. Might as well use this. Go with that one. Then I'm going to go with this. Oh, I'm gonna go with white. Bring this closer to me. Okay. As soon as you add a different color, the one that you've added previously becomes more obvious, doesn't it? Okay, now I'm gonna add a bit of this brown. Adding just a drop every time. Now I think this brown doesn't have that much oxgall in it. It didn't really spread much. I'm gonna go for another one. Now let's add blue. I'm gonna go actually with this darker blue. I'm actually just touching the top with this. No, that didn't go as planned. Never mind. Okay. Right. I'm gonna go with this bronze again. I like it. And it doesn't spread so fast. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna do more of a traditional pattern. I'm gonna grab this tool that I made. I'm gonna push it from one side to the other. Now I have all the little hearts. Love that. Now I could go and do this. Now push it this way. Oops. And I end up with that. I love this. It reminds me of wings, and you can go even further and make these smaller and so on. I'm just going to leave it like that because I actually really like it. I think if I do anything else, I'll ruin it. Okay, so I'm going to just drop like so, and then just lift it up, let it drip. Oh, it is so pretty. I'm really loving it. I'm going to use my old cleanup paper again, and I'm going to go like this. Push it out to one side. All right. I'm going to start with the purple. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go like this. It's hard to see when you first start. You don't know what's going on. I'm going to go once more. This is like creating equal tension between those circles because they keep pushing and pulling. I find that really enjoyable to watch. Okay, we've got quite a bit of purple now. What goes well with purple? Let's go with gold. Wow, that spreads really fast. I'm gonna go again. Extra drop. Because once I add another color, it will make this gold stand out a bit better, I think. Okay, now I am going to go with, let's go with this one. Let's use this one. Love this. It's a tool for making flowers, I think. Perfect little flowers. Gonna go again the second time. Very nice. I'm gonna go with the darker color now. I'm gonna use this tool again because I like it. This one spreads a bit more than the previous one. Okay, and maybe I'll just add a few tiny ones like so. See what that does. This is just so much fun. Especially because you never know what you're gonna end up with. You see, as these expand, they're squashing my flowers, the original ones. Look, they're becoming smaller. Never mind. Some expanded more than the others. It's because I didn't dip into the color every time. Clean that. I'm going to go again with this one. Oops. I'm going to make them big again because I want that central flower to be big. What happened here? Okay. Here's the tool that I'm using when I bind journals, and I think it will work well. I'm just gonna go like this. Just gonna play a little bit. Just move around these. It deformed some of my flowers a little bit. That's all right. Go around. I can just push these out now. They look more like stars at the moment. gonna grab this one and add just a drop of black, just to expand these a little bit. Ooh, they've gone a bit too far. Never mind. We'll bring them back in. You see how unpredictable this is? I'll just get them approximately all the same. All right. And now I'm going to bring them back in. I love how you can push the paint. Okay. I'm just gonna go like this to make them a little bit more rounded. Okay, I think that's enough. I'll just collect it. Love it. Really, really nice. This cleanup paper didn't look that exciting, so maybe we'll make it better now. Yeah, it's better now. Okay, let's do another one. I'm gonna go with reds now. Let's do one with some warmer colors. I'm gonna start with red. And this is like, I think, a raw sienna, so it's brown, reddish brown. Add some of that. I'm gonna add a little bit of this yellow ochre, darker yellow, just to add some of that. Oh, I like that now. Now you can see the brown and the red better. Let's add the yellow in between here to push them even more out. I love watching them expand. And add more yellow into the big circles so they can push back. I don't always like the results I get, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. Have to be ready to experiment sometimes. I have this tool with 4 toothpicks. I'm gonna go with the red on that one. Because why not? All right. Okay. Make them expand a little bit more. Right. I'll just go like this now, just to add a little bit more of the dark. And then more of the red. Let's do this. If you don't have those, you can still create a fun effect just by going like this with a pointy tool. Let's go from left to right. Okay. And then you can do that. But I want to show you how this thing works. I love the effect. Okay. Look, and you can do this. Move it slightly. That's that basic feather pattern, but you can also grab a pointy tool like this and start somewhere in the middle, and now you can go like this in a round motion. Move them all like so. Okay, I love that. Let's pick it up. Always make sure the corners touch the surface. Okay, lifting it up. I'm gonna let it drip a little bit. Very nice. Very, very nice. Let's clean this up. I'm just gonna go and use this copy paper. There's quite a bit of paint there. Just moving it from side to side. Just to get as much as I can. You know what? It's so nice. The only thing that these cleanup papers miss is the center. Every time I do this, the middle part stays white, but everywhere else I really love this. Really, really do. Right. do something else. I'm gonna start with this dark brown. I'm gonna go and use the brush. I'm gonna go with a bit more color. Keep adding. You're better off adding a little by little than all at once, because it might drop if you add too much. You have to give it time to spread. Okay. Now I'm gonna go with the blue. Keep adding. Is it gonna drop to the bottom? No. I'm gonna go with darker blue now. Let's add purple. Just gonna hold it like this. We haven't tried any of these. I have here a white that is a shiny white. It's pearl white. I'm gonna add some of that. Wow, love it. Just gonna add that. I'll go with this purple, and some of the paint dropped to the bottom. I don't know if you can see right there. Yes, it was heavy, so it dropped to the bottom. That's that heavy body acrylic paint, so that happens sometimes with those. Can't help it. Go with more purple. And I go with brown again. I'm just doing like circles, and then I should have concentrated better. Just spoil the whole thing. Add more brown to the sides. I'm gonna push it back in. Okay, this did not go as I planned, so I'm just now making it up. But I'm gonna make a nice print out of it. I'm gonna attempt to make a nice print anyway. Let's add some green. Or maybe this green. try using this. Like that. Spreading really fast. We haven't tried silver. Just gonna mix it a little bit. Gonna use this again. Oh, it's so much fun playing with the patterns. Love how the silver expands. I think those metallic ones, they expand a little bit slower. And I like that. Okay. Now let's go with the brown again. Whoa. Whoa, where are they going? This is not what I planned, but now I'm going with it. I'm going with it. Totally not what I planned. Never mind. I'm gonna go with the silver again to bring it back in. Like so. I'll just sprinkle the silver like this now, because I don't know what I'm doing. Just random. You know what? I think I'm gonna leave it like that. Let's pick it up. I think it turned out good, considering there's a little bit of runoff here, but that's all right. I don't mind it. And now I have to pick this up, and as you can see, there's always a little bit of that empty space in the middle, so I'm gonna try and change that. I'm gonna use this and maybe try to bring some of that paint to the center. Okay, so that when I pick it up, I don't end up with a white center. Just going to do this. Just bring it. I think my cleanup paper turned out better than the original one. Here they are, nicely dried and flat. The ones that wrinkled up a little bit, I've placed them underneath the book and let them sit like that for a few hours, and they flattened nicely. This is the first one we've done. I'm very happy with that one. It's got a lot of contrast and I like the colors, including the bronze. This one looks almost like wood grain, so very interesting. One might say it was overmixed, but I don't mind. It really looks like wood grain, especially because of the colors. Okay, I really like this one. It turned out really good, and in some of these areas these look like birds. Very nice. I think that one's very fresh looking. This is the one that caused me trouble. I think I wanted to have these nice flowers, and then they all became really weird looking flowers. But overall it's not a bad print, so it's okay, don't mind it. That one is really bright now that it's dry, and pink and yellow are probably not a combination that I would go for, but it's working all right. I guess it would look nice in a journal for the inside of the cover, definitely. Now this one, I was going to do something completely different and I ended up with that, but I like it. And then here are some cleanup papers. I think out of all of them, the cleanup paper from that and this one from after that one are probably my favorite papers. Perhaps because I'm not a big fan of such bright and saturated colors, I just love this one. Although it does have that white area, I don't mind it. I love it. And that one too. Love that one too. This cleanup paper also turned out very nice. I like it. And there's a few more grungy looking ones. I can definitely use these ones. I love to stamp in black ink on top of these, or maybe even add some more acrylic paints on top, work with textures and so on. They're great backgrounds. Okay, let's add these to my ever-growing pile of marbled papers. And I've created two new digital kits. This one, Marbled Papers Volume 1 and Marbled Papers Volume 2. And there's also a third digital kit with marbled papers called Green and Blue Collection. All of these are available on my Etsy store as a separate kit, also in my shop on my website, with addition of a bundle. On my website there's a file that's called Bundle of these three digital kits together. That's something I cannot offer on Etsy unless I reduce the size of the files and make them lower resolution, which I don't want to do. But on my website I'm not limited to the file size, so I can offer 3 in 1. I've picked my favorites, obviously. There's that new one we've done together. Love this one too. So they've turned out quite good. There's some of the new ones and some of the older ones. I really love this one, and I had to include that one. And as you can see, even the printable version looks very good. And there's that one. Okay, some of the older ones. I love this one. I've used it in a few journals. And there's that one. So Volume 1 and Volume 2 both have 13 pages each. I like this one too. Love the colors here. I don't know why, it just reminds me so much of Australia. I guess the sun and the sky and the color of the sand. It just looks so much like Australia. Love that one too. That's a very striking looking one. I also like these with pastel colors. There's that one we've done together. I like this one too. Nice. That's a really interesting one as well. And that one. So that's Volume 2. And this is the old one from a year or two ago. Blue and Green Collection. Love this one. I've used it a lot in my nautical journals. I will leave the links to all of these in the description below. And at the moment there is a sale on my Etsy store, 25% of everything until the end of this month. And of course, if you decide to get all 3 of these, just hop onto my website, find the link to my shop, and you'll be able to get a good deal if you buy all 3 of them. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you soon in my next video. Perhaps we can make a few interesting things with the papers we created. Bye for now.